You are listening to the Pacers Report with Mike Rich every Monday on the Central Indiana Sports Report.
Pippen challenging. He's going to have to get it in. He's having trouble. Gets it to Reggie for three.
He's in the lane. He nearly lost it. He backs up and unloads a three. Oh! That did not happen! It hit the back of the rim. It popped high into the air. And it dropped gently through the net.
In 49 states, it's just basketball, but this is Indiana.
Welcome back, Pacers fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for this edition of the Pacers Report, which I almost can't wait to get through the intro here because I want to ask this question. The fine of the Pacers, the team that over the history of the league has been the least tanking. They refuse to freaking tank for years. They sit out there, guys, one game and they get fined. Thoughts, Mike?
Oh, I'm pissed. I thought it was ridiculous. You have multiple teams, multiple players that sit out for rest all the freaking time. And then because they do this one time, and I was just pissed. I thought it was ridiculous fine. I thought $100,000 was stupid, but I know it's a problem, but
I don't care about the money
with the Pacers. I don't care about the money. If they're going to tank, you might as well pay $100,000 per game or whatever it is to get in the top four. I wouldn't care.
See, we're not going to talk about the gambling issue with Gilbert Arenas and Terry Rozier. That's not been talked about since the news of that came out. There's just way bigger issues in the league than this. To me, I think that the league as a whole needs to work on competitive advantage. Teams wouldn't have to tank if they were guaranteed if they were going to be bad, they were going to have a top 5 draft pick. And that's just not the case. The Pacers could do all of this and get stuck with the 14th pick in the draft. It's that issue that creates teams that perpetually find themselves in this cycle where they have to tank to improve their odds to get a top 3 draft pick. The Pacers have had a handful of top 3 draft picks in their franchise history. This seems to me like you're punishing small market teams for doing something. And then the news that Sam Presti, the Thunder GM, is the one that is pressuring this because the Utah Jazz have a pick that could be given to the Thunder. I believe it's a top 8 protected pick. So it just seems to me, I really struggle with the fine, the principle behind it. This Pacers team is not a team that is out there intentionally trying to lose. Pascal Siakam's playing the most minutes he's ever played in his career. You've got Nembhard, Nesmith, both averaging over 30 minutes a game.
Why this is ridiculous.
So it's absolutely ludicrous that a team that is without 2 of their 5 starters from last year's team, who really was not expected to be very good, is going to get punished for not being very good. I hate this. If this were the Lakers, if this were the Mavericks who, traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and nothing at the dawn of midnight before the trade deadline, and then the Mavericks get the number 1 pick in the draft this next year to get Cooper Flagg, I hate the NBA, Greg. The league sucks, and that's the issue, is that the league in of itself is inept. They're horrible. The TV deals they dominate media, but...
Yeah. Look, hey, Mike, Adam Silver rode the coattails of David Stern for a long time, and now we're starting to see that he's not good at this, and he's got to go.
Oh, freaking ridiculous. No doubt he needs to go. I don't know where I got cut off in my rant, but I was right there with Will. I just thought the fine was ridiculous. I thought doing that to 2 small market teams was just stupid. Just pisses me off at the NBA, their front office, and it's the leadership. The teams have tanked and good teams have tanked, and small market and And I don't feel like this Pacer team is tanked at all.
No,
They have
not as
played
much as
hard.
I'm liking to.
No, they put the best of what they got out there, and they set players one game before the All-Star break. Come on, ridiculous! Just totally ridiculous. They can just piss off. The NBA is just super frustrating.
Yeah, time for a new direction.
I don't know how you can take the league legitimately when this happens. And Greg, the thing that cracks me up the most is that these are two small market teams that have been good.
Yeah.
It's not like the Jazz have been just some awful franchise the last 20 years. They've had years they were awfully competitive. I would say that they've obviously tanked more than the Pacers, who have never done it. But you're not talking about the Charlotte Hornets, who have been awful for the better part of their entire franchise history. The Atlanta Hawks, who have not been relevant since 2013.
What does he think the process was? They brag about doing it. They bragged about doing it, and they called it the process.
Yep.
And now the Pacers do it one game, and they get fined.
Yeah,
their entire process was based on tanking.
I just think it's really rich for a guy who built a team that had 2 seasons under 25 wins in a row to be the guy that is all of a sudden jumping in front of the line to get the NBA to remove tanking. I get the Thunder. They had some injuries those years and stuff, but nobody talks about the fact that Paul George was given up for 5 first-round draft picks. Paul George ain't been worth 2 shits rubbed together since he was traded to the Clippers. And it's nobody talks about the ethical nature of that trade, how it absolutely benefited one team so exponentially more than any other team in the league, that they are now a powerhouse, and they've hit on the draft picks, and you got to respect it. But the way the Thunder have done it, they've gotten lucky. They've gotten lucky that somebody was willing to pay Paul George 5 first-round draft picks and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah, this is just one of those. I don't even want to tune into the playoffs when the league is providing shit like this and the Pacers aren't in it. I'm not interested in the NBA outside of the Pacers. I know Mike and you, Greg, are much more diehards than I am, but I hate this so much.
As a fan, I want to strike against the NBA right now.
Yeah,
tell them to piss off. I think this is ridiculous. I'm right there with you, Will.
I'll go this far, guys. The league owes the Pacers a top 4 pick this year by how little they've tanked over the years when they could have. They've traded for better players, and they've always, not for one moment, have the Simons have owned this, have they not tried to win every freaking game they could until one game this week.
And they won that game.
They won the game. Because Quentin Jackson couldn't be stopped.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to need to talk about him, man.
I mean, that's the other thing. And I think that's the only reason it was 100,000 instead of 500,000 for the fine, is because they actually won the game. But just freaking, it's ridiculous. And the hope that I had in this season was that the Pacers look good. They come out, they play competitive. You develop these young players, you develop your G League, you take this opportunity. You're going to have a bad record, and you sit players for one freaking game and you get fined. That's just nonsense.
Doesn't help, too, that you've got Kendrick Perkins all over ESPN talking about how the Pacers should have been fined $1 million. He might be the dumbest son of a bitch on TV, Mike. He might. He really might. But he just talks. He sounds like an absolute moron talking about the Pacers weren't even going to make the playoffs last year and basically hated the Pacers this entire playoff run. I don't usually attack other media personalities' characters, but you just want to come at the Pacers, this fan base, this organization, you can have it for all I care. The fact that man is employed by ESPN shows how unserious they are about basketball coverage. And it's a joke. The guy's an absolute joke of a media member, of a commentator, of a personality in general. The second he's off television will be better for the rest of America.
All right, let's move on to the next one. I want to do one more before we get to what we want to see for this year. Hey, Mike, the other day, Will said that on his show that the Pacers are going to be better next year than last year.
Oh, I would agree with that. I think their regular season, they're going to be a lot better. I think they'll win more than 50 games if healthy. And I think they'll have a higher seed in the playoffs next year. Do I want to say right now that they're going to make it to Game 7 of the finals? I hope not. I hope it's Game 4 of the finals. They're winning.
I'll take Game 7 of the finals.
It's exciting, but they'll have a better season next year than last year.
This Pacers team will put the most ethical regular season and playoff run in NBA history together next year. They're going to win the championship. They are, without question, going to be the best team in the league, regardless of record. Come play them in a 7-game series. They'll do exactly what they've done. I have no doubts about that. Tyrese looks stronger. I think he's going to come back healthy with having an 18-month recovery. I don't think he's going to have to work his way into playing shape, to be honest. He's already playing 3-on-3 and 4-on-4. So I expect him to be great if they're able to add to this roster with a top 4 draft pick. I think Zubac could be good. I love Jay Huff and the cloth he's cut from in terms of a second string center. And they got rid of Ben Mathurin, who I think, as good as he could have been, was also sometimes a handicap to this roster. There's no question to me that they're going to be better next year.
I think the move of Mathurin to the Clippers and Zubac is, I think he was a missing piece of a championship last year.
And the reason we came here, we're 13 minutes into the podcast. We haven't gotten to the main topic, which is, Mike, what do you want to see the Pacers? How should they approach the final, 30-some games here?
I think they should continue with how they played this whole season and just continue developing their young talent. I think you figure out what you have with Zubac and Siakam. I'm nervous that they are going to play themselves out of that top 4 draft pick because I think we're going to see some good things from Zubac and Siakam at them hard. I think it's going to be hard for them to stay where they're at right now. I think they're going to improve, and hopefully it takes a little time for Zubac to adjust to the system, but I don't see that being an issue.
Greg, I think that this team and what I want to see the rest of the way, I want to see Quentin Jackson continue to develop because I think he has the opportunity to be a very talented guy off the bench. Your 9-10 guy able to go get you 20 any given day is a great asset to have.
He's an NBA.
I agree. He's an NBA player. Greg, I talked about it briefly. I want to see Jay Huff continue to develop with Rick Carlisle and a rapport with the rest of this team because I think that he is a very, very good second center. I love his rim protection ability. I like that he plays above the rim. He's kind of flashy with the reverse dunks. I just want to see continued development from younger guys, including Jarris Walker. I think we saw it from Johnny Furphy. That, to me, is the essence of what the rest of the year is. I wish that Pascal Siakam, with quotations above, would go down with just a slight ankle injury that's going to require him to rest the rest of the year. I kind of want Andrew Nembhard to have a left tank contusion that's going to remove him from the rest of this year, and Nesmith maybe with a eye liner malfunction that he has that will require him to miss the rest of the year. Get them off their feet, let the team play and develop, and get these young guys where they're able to step in next year and be true threats off the bench.
I'd like to see about a week with those 4 guys and then shut it down.
They'll get fined, and but that's
shut it down slowly. Don't do what they did last night. Do it 1 guy at a time. Do it 2 at a time. Do it a couple games at a time. You don't have to be obvious like they were the other night to be able to shut this thing down. The problem that they did was that they made it too obvious. And then they won.
How much of a fine is it worth to stay right where we're at? $1 million a game to be in the top 4 of this draft? I mean, that's a drop in the bucket.
I'm kind of with you, but I think the bad press coming from getting fined every game is not worth the.
You think that bad press will matter if we're winning a championship next year with that rookie?
I think it would be bad press for the NBA, not for the Pacers. The Pacers have a
Yeah.
case. Say, we've never done this, and
Right.
look, we have no chance to make the playoffs. We want these guys healthy for next year. We're not tanking. We're being smart.
Yeah. Business smart.
How many games have the Pacers lost within 5 points this year? If you flipped every 5-point loss or less that they had, what would their record be? I would be very curious to know, because in the beginning of the year, those first 2 months, it felt like every game they were losing by a last 30-second possession. I mean, this team, if you flip the result, I think would be closer to 500 probably than where they're at and fighting for a playoff spot. That's the difference between having, in my opinion, 10 player in the entire league not playing on your team.
You're probably pretty close to right there. And the teams that really matter in the NBA, OKC, they took them to what? Double overtime the first game of the year, barely got beat in that game. Then they turned around and they beat them the second game. They beat the New York Knicks, which is one of the top teams in the East. Tell me this team isn't competitive and fighting. They come to play when the competition, that they have to basically prove a point that they're still a team that's going to have to be reckoned with in the future.
Here's the other thing, guys, that I don't think people have considered or maybe even want to consider, but they're only 8.5 games out of the playoffs, and all those teams just got worse at the trade deadline. Did they accidentally make the playoffs if they played all their guys every night?
We thought they
probably not.
We thought they'd be 0-2 in these last 2 games and maybe win. I think I said 1 out of the 4, and you said possibly 0 out of 4. And now they're looking like they're going to win all 4. They play Washington Wizards the next 2 games, right?
Yeah, could win all 4 of them.
They could win all 4 of them. They could go on a run. I mean,
and by the way, if they do, then their draft pick is theirs again.
It's
something to consider. I'd still rather have a chance for one of the top 4. Those are franchise players.
Yeah,
but
same here.
It's just a thought. It's not a very realistic one. Just a thought.
The most hilarious thing of all of this would be that, and people will call me crazy, but this Pacers team is good enough to beat any of the top teams in a 7-game series. Like they absolutely have the amount of talent with Siakam. And if they were making a playoff run, I bet you Zubac would be playing again.
Of course.
And I instantly elevate. Yeah. They're only Tyrese Halliburton, not better than that. They absolutely could. They could beat a team if you didn't take them seriously in a playoff series.
You'd have to get an awful lot out of Jarris Walker.
He's shown the last 2 weeks, I think, that he's warranted more of a look. So
can they beat the Pistons? And
man, this podcast has turned suddenly, and they beat the Pistons in a 7-game series.
Oh, I don't know.
Awesome.
Man.
Well, this has been fun, guys. Mike, safe trip back. Will, we'll talk to you later this evening about some baseball.
And the first MLB report of the year with Paul Tipton and Will is coming up a little later Monday. Please join us for that one. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.